Gillum Benham Grayson was born on November the 11th, 1887 in Ashe County, North Carolina, the son of a Civil War veteran. This particular Civil War veteran, his father, was also the brother of Colonel James W. M. Grayson, the capture of Tom Dooley, just a few years before this in 1866. The family moved in 1889 to Laurel Bloomery, Tennessee, where GB Grayson would make his home for the remainder of his life. He's sleeping tonight where the moon shines so bright on the banks of old Tennessee. Oh, I have no true love in this world. Oh, I have no true love in this world. She's sleeping tonight where the moon shines so bright on the banks of old Tennessee. On the banks of old Tennessee, Lord, Lord, on the banks of old Tennessee. She's sleeping tonight where the moon shines so bright on the banks of old Tennessee. Yes, she's sleeping tonight where the moon shines so bright on the banks of old Tennessee. On the banks of old Tennessee, the Kody Norris Show coming to you live and in living color today in celebration of Long Journey Home. So happy to be part of this and for the GB Grayson portion of the program. Featuring some of the old-time songs of the legendary GB Grayson today. One of the premier recording artists of the 1920s, and we're so happy that our little part of this can be included in the filming today. Introduce you to everybody as we come around so you know who's doing what, why, when, and where. Right over here with the 5-string banjo, all the way from Carthage, Tennessee, Josiah Tyree and his little banjo. All right. Yeah, man. My little sweetie over here picking the flat top guitar, doing a mighty fine job. Miss Mary Rachel, all right, everybody. Back here with the bass fiddle, comes to you from the bluegrass country and old-time music metropolis of Chicago, Illinois. Right. Make him welcome. That's everybody's cousin Charlie Longer back there, everybody. I am Kody Norris, but I promised him I wouldn't tell you that, so you can just guess who I am. We'll kind of go through some of the old songs today. Unfortunately, we lost GB Grayson in 1930, but up to that time, man, what some big hit records that he did make. And such songs that have been recorded throughout by many, many artists in all genres of music. And the GB Grayson style of music is one that will certainly survive the ages. I'm sure his influence has just been so far and beyond, why, it's really just something else. We'll feature one of the numbers now, one of the first songs I guess I ever learned to play and sing, and one that really just a good story song, and we hope you friends will enjoy one called Short Life of Trouble, all right? In the mountains of central Appalachia, one of the prime objectives of any man is to provide for his family. GB Grayson certainly didn't let his disability impair that objective in any way whatsoever. Using his music as a tool to provide for his family, he traveled wherever the need for some good old country music would be, and he would travel there and perform those songs, play throughout those many contests, and certainly as a way to provide a better way for his family. GB was also in a position, because of the military service of his father, he had been presented with a pension that would help, to offset some of those expenses, but knowing certainly that wouldn't be enough. He certainly took the music on to another level and did his very best to provide for his family. According to what history tells us, on a trip to pay a mortgage payment on the home in which they lived, August 16th, 1930, GB Grayson was killed tragically in an automobile accident near Damascus, Virginia. This brought an end to the popular country music duo of Henry and Whitter, but thanks to their records, their music will live on forever. GB Grayson's music has had so much influence on so many artists, and one of those definitely being the Stanley Brothers, the famous bluegrass music, and so many of the songs that they recorded, especially in their early career, were some of the songs of GB Grayson and Henry Whitter. One of those songs in particular has been handed down, different variations of it, but their recorded version of an old number called Little Maggie is one we'll feature right now for you. With a grand around the turn of the century, fortunately, GB Grayson was a direct link to the era of the Civil War and all the music that was passed through that time. So many of the songs that we know today came from that era in our American history. With that being said, right here is one of the more famous tunes, and they had a very, very big hit record on this with Grayson and Witter, a number simply entitled, He's Coming to Us Dead. One morning when the office had opened, a man came over here to the express office showing signs of grief and fear. When the clerk approached him, his trembling word did say, I'm waiting for my boy, sir, he's a-coming home today. Well, you have made a sad mistake, and you must surely know this is a telegraph office, sir, and not a town depot. Well, if your boys are coming home this cold, rainy day, you'll find him with the passengers at the station just over the way. You do not understand me, sir. The old man shook his head. He's not coming as a passenger, but by express, he said. He's coming home to mother. The old man gently said, he's coming home in the casket, sir, he's a-coming to us dead. Then a whistle pierced the ear, the express came in on time. The old man rolled in a breathless pace and quickly rushed outside. Then a long white casket was lowered to the ground, showed signs of grief and fear to those who gathered around. Well, do not use him roughly, boys, it contains our darling Jack. He went away as you boys are, look the way he's a-coming back. Well, he broke his poor old mother's heart, her sayings all come true. She said this is the way that he'd come back when he joined the boys in blue. She said this is the way that he'd come back when he joined the boys in blue. I feel that a lot of people are influenced daily by GB Grayson's music, especially when they're within a folk, country, or bluegrass market. Thanks to YouTube, thanks to all the things that we have now, and I often even tell my students there's no excuse to not be exposed to this music now because you carry it around in your pocket. And in my travels going throughout the world, I so often meet people when they find out where I'm from that are just walking encyclopedias on the music of people like GB Grayson, and more importantly, not as much their music in general, but their contribution to the music. Mm-hmm. And that's big. That's huge, because without that, when you lose those building blocks, if those weren't in place, there's no way in the world we could be where we're at today if we didn't know what was behind us. For instance, GB Grayson's music on a closer time frame would have influenced the Stanley Brothers. His records would have been what were being played in parlors throughout the whole southwestern Virginia when the Stanley Brothers were growing up. Well, the Stanley Brothers in turn, they influenced everybody from Bob Dylan, right on down the line, even into country music, Ricky Skaggs, Vince Gill, all these people. And without that music that they grew up with and what they were hearing, they wouldn't have been able to turn out the music that they played to influence the following generation. And it just keeps trickling right on down. Something, though, that I feel privileged to have been told in my life. When I was 17 years old, I had the pleasure of working with Dr. Ralph Stanley. And something he told me, and I've carried it with me all these years. Anytime you're seeking out a song, take it back to the head of the string. And what he meant with that was find the purest version of that you could possibly find. I've never forgotten that. And you can't really understand maybe sometimes what a song, it was really about, how it was intended to be portrayed, if you don't trace it back to the earliest, evidence you can find. However, in Ralph Stanley's time, that would have been more word of mouth, people, because recordings were just, early on in that time as he was growing up. So I'm sure, with
it always been word of mouth up to that point, those records of people like GB Grayson and Henry Whitter would have had much more impact then even than they do on people today.
Probably one of the most recognizable songs of the Grayson and Whitter era would definitely be Handsome Molly. It's a song that's been arranged so many ways, sang so many different ways, and we kind of put our own version together, bringing the old-time stylings of it, as well as the bluegrass stylings that we've picked up in different places. We feature this on our show quite a bit, so we'll kind of do you a version now that just brings it all together in the old way of Handsome Molly. Y'all ready to go? Here we go. I'd step my foot in a steamboat and sail the ocean around. Sailing around the ocean, sailing around the sea, I think of Handsome Molly wherever she may be. Pick her, Joe. On Sunday, passed me on by. I knew your mind was changing by the rolling of her eyes. Her hair was black as a raven, her eyes were black as coal. Her teeth shone like lilies out in the morning glow. Sailing around the ocean, sailing around the sea, I think of Handsome Molly wherever she may be.
Get it, honey. Said if you ever married that I'd be the man. Well, now you broke your promise, go marry who you please, while my poor heart is aching, hoping to get some ease. Sailing around the ocean, sailing around the sea, I think of Handsome Molly wherever she may be. Yes, I'll think of Handsome Molly wherever she may be.
Growing up in Johnson County, Tennessee, you know, with just the abundance of musical talent that we have here, when I was first, you know, starting out to play, naturally you're very inquisitive, you want to know everything about everybody, and always kind of bugging people, I guess, for, you know, for information on artists of the past, especially local ones. And, you know, it was always somewhat disappointing to me how unfortunately we as a whole here in our community, for the longest time, people just really, they didn't get that excitement, you know, about the artists that we have and the music that they had left behind. And such an important, you know, factor of just American musical culture in general was created, you know, within the boundaries of our little county here in East Tennessee.
Tell them about it, Kody.
All right. Down through history with American folk music, probably one of the more popular titles of any songs have been train songs. GB Grayson certainly wouldn't want to have missed the boat when it came to a train song, and his Train 45 has probably been one of the more popular numbers throughout bluegrass music. It's played on every instrument, numerous styles, numerous chords, and so many people have followed that, and we're going to play that for you today as our closing number. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today with The Long Journey Home. We'll look so forward to being back with you next year, live and in living color and in person, when we weren't able to do that this year with the COVID crisis throughout the country. Thank you all so much, and we will leave you with Train 45. Here we go. Seen that train go down, you'd hear the whistle blow 100 miles. Well, oh me, oh Lordy my, you'd hear the whistle blow 100
begun to travel, and throughout the world, people find out where I'm from, and just immediately the element of excitement is just through the roof. You know, knowing the music and all the things that it is, you know, how it's been passed down and taken on to so many other genres across every genre of music. There have been so many people influenced by the artists of Johnson County, and I'm so happy that now so many folks here in Johnson County, I'm speaking more for myself than anybody, that we don't take that for granted anymore and realize the importance of all those first generation artists and their contribution to music in general.
Back here on the bass fiddle, Charlie Longman doing a mighty fine job. Miss Mary Rachel with the guitar. I'm Kody Norris. Thank you so much for being with us today.